meeting presented by the city staff. And today, all we're going to do is present the facts. I'll base everything that we present today on the two ordinances that were passed by council. And so, if you haven't, we'll walk you through. If you haven't picked up your packet, you have to pick those up at City Hall. So here are some key dates that you need to remember. And again, we're going to look at these two ordinances that have already been approved by the current city council. But the first ordinance contained the question, shall a commission be chosen to frame a charter? So what we're talking about, there's been a lot of talk about changing the government, but the first step that we have to go through is, do the citizens of Monett want to have a charter written for the city of Monett? Now the charter is going to determine the type of government that we have moving forward. Or we could just remain in the same type of government that we have right now. The charter is the key. It's like the Constitution for the city. It's the guiding document for the city. So the question will be asked, shall a commission be chosen to frame a charter? If you pick up a packet, if you decide to file, that's what you're running for, is a commission, a charter commission, okay? So if the citizens vote yes on that first question, then 13 commissioners will be chosen to draft the charter. So the question has been asked, what if a voter goes in and votes no on the, do we want to draft a commission? Do they still get the opportunity to vote for the 13 commissioners? The answer is yes, because we will not know the outcome of that first ballot question, shall a commission be chosen to frame a charter, until all the votes are taken in Berry and Lawrence County, because we're a split county. If you are selected as a charter commissioner, it's a one-year term. So from April of 2026, April 7, which is election day, until April 6 of, 2026, and then April 6 of 2027, that's the one-year term. So within that 1 year, those 13 commissioners are going to be looking at other cities' charters. You'll be writing the charter for Monett. Once you write the charter, then you'll have lots of meetings as far as citizens' input and staff input and others' input, so that you frame that charter, what's best for Monett. And then in 2027, the citizens once again will be asked the question, do you want to adopt the charter that was written over the last year? Okay? That ballot language hasn't been determined yet, but that's basically what it'll say. So if the voters pass the charter, then the new charter government will transition into the effect. So after 2027, if the voters vote yes for the charter that's been framed, then there will be a transition period of new government, change of government, those kinds of things. Is it going to be 3 months, 6 months, a year? That will all be determined by those that write the charter. Here's how we're going to transition into this new form of government. So, yeah, yes, sir.
Will there be language on the ballot to instruct them to go ahead and vote for the 13, even if they vote no?
Yes. I will double check that, but I've been assured that yes, that will be on there.
Should have it.
You want to go ahead, but I'll double check it. Yeah. You do need to pick up your packets from City Hall, and that's the address of City Hall. The city clerk is here, and if she's not available, then you can pick it up from the deputy city clerk. But we wanted everybody to pick up the packets from City Hall to make it equal among everybody. So the official opening date is Tuesday, December 9th. So next Tuesday is whenever it really opens up. Now you can pick up your packets early. When we were discussing this with council and work sessions, they asked if we could go ahead and put the packets together and distribute them earlier. There's no problem with that. City attorney said, yes, go ahead and do that. So that's why you can pick them up now. So this is the first ordinance that was passed. This is the ordinance 9099 that is the ordinance that puts the question on the ballot. So this is passed. It was passed unanimously by the council. So this is this starts the whole process. Okay? Now, the next ordinance is the key ordinance. Ordinance 9104, that was passed on November 13th by the council, and this is the qualifications of those that desire to file to be a charter commissioner. So this is the characteristics, or this is the qualities that we're going to walk through. And I just want to point out the highlighted areas. So this is the ordinance, and this says, there's that question, shall a commission be chosen to frame a charter and, if passed, elect 13 commissioners for the Charter Commission? So if there are 14 people that file to be a charter commissioner, the top 13 vote getters will form the Charter Commission. If there's 20, the top 13. 21, top 13. So section 1 was just kind of a qualifier, just a general statement. So we jumped to section 2 of this ordinance. It says the candidate must provide the properly completed petition signed by at least 68 registered voters who are residents of Monett, Missouri, as confirmed by the county clerks of Berry and Lawrence County. So when you pick up your packet, there's a pre-formed petition in there. You're going to need 68 signatures minimum. You may want to get more than that. That's up to you, because the qualifier is the county clerks from Berry and Lawrence will verify that they're residents of Monett and that they're registered voters in either Berry or Lawrence County. So you want to make sure your petitions are accurate. Section number 3, this is including the petition for a nomination properly filled out with the city clerk, and these are the dates that you can begin to turn in your petition. Again, the official filing date is December 9th, but we went ahead and put the packets together and they're available. So the filing period is from December 9th, 8 a.m. until 5 p.m. on December 30th. There's 2 accepted dates in there, and I'll show you those here in just a minute. But you can bring those back to City Hall. So the candidate must be a qualified voter under the laws and Constitution of Missouri. You've got to be a resident. You don't have any back taxes that are unpaid. You have to be current on your taxes to file as a candidate. Section number 5. This is whoever receives the highest votes, again, those top 13 vote getters. Only if the majority of the voters vote yes to the question. So, again, that ballot language is going to be, the first question is going to be, shall a commission be chosen or framed? And then those names that are following underneath that. So, if the first question doesn't pass by the voters, the process ends right there. We don't need the 13 charter commissioners, because the citizens have said, no, we don't want you to frame a charter. But if it passes, then the 13. So the hours are between 8 and 5, as I shared with you. The 2 exception dates are Christmas Day, December 25th, and the next day after, December 26th. So those are the 2 exceptions that will not be opened at City Hall. That's in the ordinance, so we've made that known to the public. And then section 7, this is if you bring your petition in On December 9th, there will be a lottery held that will put the order of the filing candidates in a certain order. So if you pull a number and it's 3, you're going to be 3 on the list. 1 on the list. 7 on the list. Okay? This only happens on December 9th. So after that, whenever the city clerk or the deputy city clerk receives a packet back in, it will be time-stamped, and then it will be placed in the order that it came in. So if we have 8 people that come in on December 9th, we do the lottery, we put them in order. The 9th person that comes in on December 10th, December 11th, on through the month, they'll just be placed in the order that we receive that time-stamped. Okay? So we're going to hand out a piece of paper that really has a better graphic, but this is really the flow of the process. So there's a file period, that's what we're in right now, officially starts on the 9th, goes through the 30th. Then there's a candidate period. I've been asked, do we have to campaign? That's entirely up to you. You're filing for this position to be a charter commissioner. So that candidate period goes, and again, all of your petitions are checked. You are a candidate, you're eligible, you're on the list, you're good to go on the ballot. April 7th, 2026 is election day. If it passes, then we would have the 13 charter commissioners. They would begin to do their work. The city will provide a city attorney to help with the process. There are other cities in the state of Missouri that have written charters or they've renewed their charters. And so you're not writing from scratch. You're going to be looking at other cities. You're going to be looking at input from the city attorney. You're going to be gaining insights from citizens and from possibly city staff of what needs to go on there. You'll work on a section at a time. The number of council people or whatever, all those dynamics that make up and form the charter, those will be walked through with our city attorney. They won't lead, they'll lead the process, they won't tell you what to do. It's the 13 commissioners that are making the decisions. They may give you options, they may say, here's what you can do legally there, but it's the 13 commissioners that are really making the decisions of what does that charter look like for the city of Monett. What do the citizens want? What have we heard from them? We were elected to do this, so we want to honor their wishes as citizens and run the city in accordance to that. The last city that made this transition in the state of Missouri was West Plains, Missouri. Monett is the last commission form of government in the state of Missouri. We have a mayor and 2 commissioners. And again, West Plains changed, I think it was 12 years ago. And then you gain input from those that you desire to gain input from. You draft the charter. Once the charter is drafted, then that goes back to the voters in 2027 for either approval or denial. It took West Plains about 6 months to draft the charter. It took them an additional 3 months to just get more additional input from the community. They'd already gained some in that 6 months, but they wanted to go back to the community and say, here's what we've kind of framed, does that look good? And so then the last part of it was really, this is what's going to go to the voters. So this is what we have on the website. I've got a hard copy of it for you. On the front side is that same process I just walked you through. Mike's done a good job putting this together. On the back side is some explanation. This is also in the packet, okay? But I'll give you a copy before you head out of here. I would call it a fairly simple process, but are there any questions that you might have concerning the process?
What if you don't get 13 people?
If we only get 13, it'll be the top 13 vote
Or
getters.
if you don't get 13?
Oh, we don't get
What if you only get 8?
Yeah. So to date, we've had 17 people show interest,
Yep.
but we don't know that they're qualified.
Yep.
Yeah. So if we don't get 13 people, I'll be calling the city attorney and saying, what do we do?
Well, that's why I just curious, I didn't see anything that said it had to be 13, and if we don't get 13, what do we do? Second piece is, then it will be up to that commission themselves to organize within that group how the process is gonna run. Is the city attorney gonna be basically the chair of the committee and open meetings, closed meetings, keep things organized?
Yeah. They won't be the chair of the committee. They'll help lead it and help guide. It's really a self-governing charter group, so you all decide when you meet, how often you meet, those kinds of things. It is an open meeting, and so people can come and it's an open meeting. And my understanding is the commissioners can decide whether they want input from that or they just want to talk amongst themselves and then have a separate meeting for the public to have input into.
Are any of the other city charters available, publicly available to read and
Yes.
investigate?
Yes, Nix is working on one, and I know that West Plains has been, it's on their website. Yes, ma'am.
I've been an election judge for 35 years, and according to Missouri election laws, you will be eligible for a write-in for that position. So, you know, you'll have a blank line there for somebody to be written in. A lot of people write Donald Duck, but some people write real
I didn't
people.
think we could because of the petition process.
Well,
I'll check that with the
double
city
check with
attorney.
them,
Yeah.
but that's a normal procedure.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll check that with our city attorney. I know that all the ballot language will go back to our attorney, will go back to the county, and it'll be all finalized, but I'll ask that question. Yes,
Well,
sir.
the requirements for a candidate would be they had to have at least 68 signatures, and the write-in would be invalid, I would think.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Well, it might be, but it leaves you with 12 people, you know, instead of the 13. So I don't know what you would do
Yeah, I
in
don't
a case
either.
like that. That'd be more of a mess, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, any other questions?
That's a good question.
Mhm.
Yeah, we'll ask that
That's
question.
interesting.
So where does this commission meet? Is it sort of city facilities?
Yeah, we'll probably meet every month, week, and I would say either at the casino or something like that.
Don't have to be-
Yeah, we would book that space for them.
Yeah, I'm just curious what the scope of that charter, how intensive it gets.
It's not as large as you might.
Well, I'm assuming it's a framework to work from, so we're building a
That's correct.
framework, we're not building the actual statutes of the city.
That's correct. That is a good point. You're building the framework
Yeah.
for the city to build on. You're not going into every code and rewriting every code and every ordinance. That's not the purpose of this group. And again, West Plains is probably, because it's the newest one, is probably the best one to go on their website and pull their charter.
Yeah, Nixon did already do a rewrite, and I want to say it's about 5 years old, maybe less than
Okay.
5 years old, and because I have it.
Okay.
They're all different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're all very different. I think I have to re-download it.
Do you remember where else you got one next to West Plains?
I can tell you in a few minutes.
Yeah, I know Raymor's got these are cities that are more closer to our size.
Yeah,
Raymore,
I didn't
Missouri's
go-
got one.
I didn't go beyond our region.
Yeah.
I want to say I had the air shows, but maybe Joplin.
And Carthage has a charter.
Oh, maybe that's the one.
Yeah. But I'll tell you, they're, like Ken said, they're all a little bit different. So that's why it's very important that the citizens are selecting 13 people from this residency here to write this for Monett. Okay, any other questions? All right, Mike, can you help me hand out these things? I'll take one.